What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about waiver wire pickups. Guys, you need to be adding right now. Go ahead and make a claim, put your fab in there, go and get these guys and add them to your roster. Now, I'm not going to be telling you guys to be starting this said person, the next week. This is not how this works. You're picking these guys up to add depth. If you lost somebody due injury, if somebody it just looks like a complete crapshoot, just basically not performing or not even being involved in the offense where it becomes snap percentage, where they're having 0% of snaps or 2%, 5%, et cetera, et cetera. You know where I'm going with this. So I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get right into the episode. So week one is in the books. We are here to pick up some guys off the waiver, and I have some guys for you that you need to be going to pick up. Now, first up, I'm going to be talking about Mark Ingram for the Houston Texans. Now, it's kind of amazing that all three Texans running backs that were on the field, except for Rex Burkhead, end up scoring a touchdown, which is crazy to me, being that the Texans were drama-filled all the offseason. Their team looked terrible. They added basically some weird pieces to that running back room, but hey, all three of them were able to put fantasy points on the board, and that's what's important. But most importantly, it came down to the volume. Mark Ingram had 26 carries, people, for 85 yards and a touchdown. Now, you're probably looking at that as like, oh, it's a little fluky, it's the Jags, but I'm more looking at the snap shares. Now, we're looking at Mark Ingram with 46% of that snap share compared to Lindsey and David Johnson. David Johnson had 28%. Lindsey had 26%. So it looks like Mark Ingram is the guy. And he was the guy in week one. I'm guessing he's going to be the guy next week. So I definitely like Mark Ingram as a pickup off the waiver. He comes in as depth. He's not a guy you're going to be throwing into week two, coming up into your starting lineups. You just have a guy waiting in the wind, waiting for him to be called upon when you face injury or you have a guy on bye. So I definitely think Mark Ingram is worth the pickup, because it's not like you're picking up a guy off the waiver wire that has injury history, because Mark Ingram has had some bumps and bruises, but nothing too serious in recent years. So I definitely think he'll be able to stay on the field, be available, which is the best thing a player can do. So I definitely think Mark Ingram is worth the pickup this week. Now, next up, unfortunately, we lost Jerry Jeudy to injury. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. So who do you pick up? I tell you right now, Tim Patrick is the golden boy there that you should be picking up off the wire. He's probably like my number one priority for wide receivers to pick up off this waiver wire, being that Tim Patrick led the all Broncos in red zone targets. He's a guy that's going to find the end zone. So it was no accident for him to find the end zone last week when Jeudy went down. So I definitely think you're worth picking him up. I'm not spending a bunch of fab on him, but I'm picking him up for a guy who just lost Jerry Jeudy. If I'm rostering Jerry Jeudy and I lost him for 46 weeks, I definitely want the guy next up on that offense, and I definitely want the leading red zone target there. He's a big body. He's right there in second in demand when it comes to Noah Fant and those red zone targets. Noah Fant, I believe, had 12. Tim Patrick had 10. So therefore, he's right there in those targets. I love a guy who's going to find the end zone a ton. Now with Jerry Jeudy's sideline, he possibly could see the volume that could be split between now him, Sutton, and Fant. And I definitely think, Tim Patrick definitely comes in as immediate, eye opener. Like, hey, maybe I can put him in as my flex this week, being that they have a good matchup coming up. And I definitely think Tim Patrick is a no-brainer to pick up, especially if you lost Jerry Jeudy. Now, the next guy who is on the waiver right now with only 8% roster exposure on Sleeper right now, 8%, wildly low. He basically was undrafted in a ton of leagues, and that's Van Jefferson. I've been beating this drum for a while. People who follow me, people who's been watching my channel for a while now know I've been going hard for Van Jefferson, and it's finally coming into light. Now, you guys are seeing Matthew Stafford play at a high level right now, which we already knew was going to happen with Sean McVay able to open up the playbook. Now, we saw Van Jefferson basically stretch the field. Everybody was saying, oh, Deshaun Jackson's there to run that 9 route, stretch the field, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to keep Van Jefferson sidelined. Oh, wait, no, they drafted Tutu Atwell in the second round with the high draft capital. Please stop it. Stop saying these things. These things are not true. If we look at week one snap percentage, this is how it went. It went 69% for Van Jefferson, 14% for Deshaun Jackson and 2% for that draft capital narrative everybody's sticking with for Tutu Atwell. So you tell me that's going to change throughout the season. You're telling me Tutu Atwell is going to end up having a game where he has 69% or 45% or even 10%? No, it's not going to happen. The only percentage that I think could possibly increase when they actually get gelled and they find a way to get Deshaun Jackson the ball and more involved, he could possibly hit a peak of 30%. I don't see him going over that, honestly, for the rest of the season. I'll be surprised if he even hits 30% this entire season in the average. So I definitely think Van Jefferson needs to be the guy to pick up. He's the wide receiver 3. We've seen the Rams support 3 wide receivers before where their ADPs were back to back to back, and that's when Cooper Kupp was healthy, Robert Woods, and of course when Brandon Cooks was on the team as well. So we've seen the Rams support 3 wide receivers basically 3 years that we've seen when they had Sammy Watkins, Brandon Cooks, and then it was that weird year in 2019 where, injuries was just faced with everybody. So last year with golf in that offense, no, Kupp did not look great. Woods did not look the best. And I definitely think now with Matthew Stafford showing that he can air the ball out, this is a definite lock to go pick up Van Jefferson while you can. Van Jefferson is going to have weeks like this more so than not with this offense hitting on all cylinders. I can't explain to you why more you need to be getting Van Jefferson right now before it's way too late. Yes, it's week 1. No, this is not an overreaction. This is something that we know can happen on a weekly basis, or you go ahead and miss out on him and you're going to have to face him one of these weeks, and it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good when he's sitting in somebody's flex and he's putting up big points on you while you're still sitting here with, the average Joe or a Jags, just another guy on your team in the flex position. But like I said, don't believe in the second round capital on Tutu Atwell narrative. You could put that to bed. Don't believe in the Deshaun Jackson can still play, narrative that everybody's putting out there. The dude's like 38, 39, 50, 70 years old out there running 9 routes and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not buying into it. It is Van Jefferson season. So this wraps up another great episode. And of course, you're probably wondering, why didn't I mention Elijah Mitchell? Because everybody knows to go get him. This shouldn't be a breakdown of why you need to be go getting the San Francisco running back. I don't want any parts of it, honestly, because Shanahan is basically proved to be a liar. So I'm going to add that into this video of why I'm not buying Elijah Mitchell, because next week we can honestly see Trey Sermon with 19 plus touches, which is crazy to me. So with Mostert on the sideline for basically half the season, who knows what's going to happen with that backfield, people? I don't want any parts of the headache, because there's going to come a time where Hasty ends up getting 19 touches, or, Trey Sermon, like I said, get 19 touches, and then there's Mitchell or whatever the case may be. But if you do want to go spend that max fab on Elijah Mitchell, then go ahead. Go ahead. And I'd rather have him on my team, on my bench, and not face him as well. If you want to go in with that strategy, full send it. But me, I'm just shying away. So, of course, I'm not going to put him in this video because everybody's been talking about it for the last 24 to 48 hours. So, therefore, he doesn't need to be added to this video. So, this wraps up another great video of Real Deal Fantasy HQ. This was the waiver wire pickup. Please hit that link in the bio. Get yourself some merch. RDF HQ shirts are on sale now. Wolfpack shirts as well. Fire content only. You know the vibes. You see the face. You know the case. And I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.